Welcome to Rubberman Golf. Here on this channel, we love practicing yoga, and specifically for the purpose of improving our strength and our mobility in order to have a better golf game. It's helpful to think about strength and mobility like two sides of the same coin. I can be the most mobile, flexy person in the world, but have no strength to get the ball where I want it to go. Or maybe I'm the strongest, buffest dude ever, but I got no mobility in order to twist and generate that elasticity in my golf swing. That's why we become rubber people when we practice yoga. And that's where I want to bring our attention today. We're going to get back to some basic mobility exercises. We're going to target the hip joints, including the front of the hip, the back of the hip, glute area, and everything connected to your spine. The movements I have planned for you today are going to help target mobility in the hips. And since the hips are the most dynamic joint in the body, there are so many different ways we can move them around, opening, stretching, compressing. And I'd say the hips are pretty important when it comes to a strong and flexible golf swing. I'm Jack with Rubberman Golf, and no matter what your experience, no matter how flexible or how strong you are, I invite you to join me in some movement so we can see just what we're capable of today. So find some space and let's go. All right, let's get started in a standing position. Plant your feet a little wider than hips width distance. You want to point your toes out to the sides here at like a 45-degree angle, so your hips are open up a little bit. And from here, we're going to move through some nice, simple squats. Before we move, I want you to feel your connection with the earth. Press down into your heels. See if you can lift your toes up off the mat and press the four corners of your feet down into the floor. And once you're feeling that, the edges of your feet pressing down, your heels pressing down, lowering down as you breathe in. And as you exhale, slowly rise up and keep moving here with your breath. When I'm lowering down, I'm focusing in my thighs and in my quads. And when I exhale and explode up, I'm squeezing the glutes. And here we are. Just a minute ago, I said we were working on mobility, and we're right in the muscles. How did that happen? It's all right. We're using the muscles here to support the movement, because not only the muscles getting some work here, but also we're working the tendons and ligaments that connect muscle to bone, and all that cartilage that forms around the joints to help give us some cushion in our movement. We're gonna take 5 squats to start. Now, once you've completed your reps, I want you to inhale, lower halfway, drive into your heels, and shift your weight from side to side. To begin here, try to keep your shoulders square to the front. Try to keep your hips square to the front. Keep taking these nice, deep breaths. Now, what this movement here is simulating is the plant foot at the back of your backswing, right? So the leg you're shifting into, you can feel the outer edge of your foot gripping into the floor. Now, from here, we're gonna add a little bit of a hip swivel. See how when I press myself over, I'm turning my hips, I'm turning my torso, and driving towards the edge of the mat. Each time I'm pressing down into the opposite foot, driving myself over. Wait, am I dancing? What? Dancing? Wait, am I? We're gonna move here for a total of 1 minute. So keep your breath nice and smooth. And we're gonna end in a low squat. Take it all the way down and explode up. All right. Oh yeah. Now as I release that pose, I'm feeling the most effect in my hip joint. Sure, my muscles are a little active, right? But I'm mostly feeling that right here at the top of the hip joint, where all that movement was happening. All right, once you've taken a little rest, a little cool down, we're gonna meet in tabletop position, coming down through hands and knees. Once you make your way onto the floor, here our next movement's pretty simple. We're gonna take some cat-cow movements. For this movement, we're gonna pair our body and our breath together. So with your inhale, lift your chin, arch your back, and drop your belly. And as you exhale, tuck your chin, round your back, and use your core to curl up like a cat. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. And all you need to do here is move with your breath. As you move here, you're gonna start to feel your spine and your shoulders waking up. As if those squats didn't already wake up the hips, you'll start to feel your hips getting a little bit of movement here. And I want you to move through these for about 10 breaths or 1 minute. And that sounds kind of weird, right? Like 10 breaths is not 1 minute. Well, see if you can slow your breath down. Take a whole 10-second breath. 5 seconds in. And 5 seconds out. And after a little bit, this movement just starts to feel really nice, which is, after all, the whole point of these exercises we do. We're not torturing ourselves. We're practicing discipline and focus. And the results of that discipline and focus yield some pretty nice feelings in the body.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now I've moved through my 10th and final breath. Take a moment, look around. Perhaps allow a little smile to creep over your face. Yeah, man, it can be fun just taking what's possible for you and honoring what your body's capable of. Alrighty, y'all, we're gonna come into our next pose here. And I suggest you find some blocks or some items that you can support yourself with here. We're gonna make our way into a seated position. Now with your legs bent, we're gonna take this pose one side at a time. We're gonna start by threading the left ankle underneath the right knee, and then the right ankle is going to slide across the left knee, or you might like to take a block in front of your knee, or something that gives you just a little bit of height off the ground. And if that's not it for you, you might like to just keep your foot on the floor. That's perfect as well. I'm gonna take the block under my foot here. I'm gonna sit up tall. This is called square pose. You wanna know why? Look at your knees. Yeah, we're coming into like a square type shape with the legs. And to engage the pose, when we're ready, inhale, lift your arms, lift your chest. And as you exhale, drive your chest forward. Hands fall at your edge. Remember, we're taking these poses to like a 3 or a 4 out of 10 as far as sensation goes. We're not here in a 10 out of 10. Try like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. That's what we call our edge. And you want to step up to the edge here, and as you drive your chest forward, you can even use your hands to pull yourself into it. You'll feel this wonderful opening stretch on your right hip, specifically directly at the hip flexor, right in the ball and socket joint. You can feel that. So we're opening the hip, and we're using our upper body and our torso to hinge forward, creating the sensation. And this is one of these poses where once you find your edge, once you find your spot, you just be still for a moment and try to relax all the muscles in your lower body. It's important here, instead of collapsing down, try to drive forward the entire way through. And that doesn't mean like moving forward. That just means pretend that there's a cord attached to your sternum and it's pulling you towards the front of your mat. 60 seconds. deep breaths. Try to hit that 10 breath mark again. Slowing down the breath calms the body down. After your 10th slow breath, start to walk your hands back. Release the pose and release both feet to the front of your mat. Since this pose really targeted the joint, I want you to just be still for a minute here. Stay out of your muscles. And you can feel the sensation evaporating out of your body. And once that sensation fully evaporates, that's how we know it's time for the left side. So get your block, bend your knees. And from here, we're gonna slide the right foot underneath left, cross the left ankle over the right knee, or to a block, or to the floor. When you're ready, inhale, lift your arms, lift your chest. Exhale, drive forward, palms fall to the floor. Keep your attention driving forward, look up, look forward. And find one unmoving object, one still focal point where you can fix your gaze. And I want you to pay attention to your spine here as well. You want to try to stack your spine up straight, reaching the crown of your head forward. That's going to keep everything in line and everything in integrity. 60 seconds, 10 breaths. When you are complete, very gently release. Release your feet. And take a rest. Next up, we're gonna move through a butterfly position. This is a fan favorite. We all are probably familiar with this, but maybe we can make some room to learn something new at the same time. So when you're ready, you wanna bring the soles of your feet together. You don't wanna have your feet pressed up against your hips, and you don't wanna have your feet so far away that they come apart and separate. Find a nice middle ground with some space between your heels and your hips. And you want to try to sit on the very front edge of your pelvis. So I'm getting ready to be able to sit up nice and tall. Inhale, deep breath in. And as I exhale, I'm driving my chest forward, just like in square pose. My hands fall at my edge, and I'm keeping a gentle attention driving forward here. You might like to take some blocks or some cushions and place them underneath your knees here. That way you cap the movement so you can control how much sensation your body experiences. I'm reaching the crown of my head forward and I'm hinging from my hips. Doing that creates sensation in the groin, in the inside of the hip and the hamstring, but also on this very outer back edge of the glute, right where the lower back and the hip connect. See if you can feel an opening happening right there as well. All of this hip movement is going to increase our mobility and our twist and our follow through. It's not strength that adds yards to your ball, it's the technique and the mobility that we bring to the swing. So I'm gonna keep driving forward, reaching my hands forward, not exceeding my edge, not going too far that it's painful. 10 breaths, 60 seconds. When you are complete, exhale, slowly shift yourself back. And make your way back up to a seated position, releasing your legs forward. And take some nice, well-earned deep breaths. As we rest in between poses here, make sure you're not speeding to the end. I know, man, we got places to be, and the world don't stop turning for any of us. But see if you can just be entirely in this moment, in your body, feeling the effects that these movements have. And I guarantee if you fully feel into the body, you won't be able to think at the same time. And that sounds like a very useful skill in our golf game, yeah? Getting out of the head. Take that from somebody who loves to overthink. All right, my brogies, I got one more movement for you today, one more pose. We're gonna finish up nice and easy. I guess that depends who you ask. We're gonna come into a simple forward fold. We've been working our way up to this one the whole time. This fold's gonna tie everything together for us. So when you're ready, bring your feet together and pull your toes towards your shins. And then relax your feet entirely. Make sure you're not locking out the knees, we're not locking out the ankles. Everything's nice and loose here. Keep your blocks nearby, they will come in handy. When you're ready, inhale, lift your arms, lift your chest, come up onto the front of your pelvis, sit up tall. And as you exhale, drive forward with your chest. This time the arms will fall palm facing up. And instead of continuing to drive forward, from here I'm going to let my head and neck release like a bowling ball. And now that I'm here in this folded position, I'm going to try to relax every muscle in my body. It might not be perfect, but you want to try to aim your forehead towards your belly button. And you see how this is not about touching the toes, it's about collapsing in half. And it's really important that you feel your head and neck release here, because as I release my head, I can feel now the sensation in my lower back. And as I feel that, I can now feel it all the way down from my hamstrings to my heels. I know it's really tempting to like force or lunge or kind of bounce into this. No bounce, no lunge, no muscle, just relax into it. And if it's hard to relax into it, like it's way too much sensation, that means you're probably a little past your edge. So you might want to ease back from the hips a little bit. Don't sacrifice the head. You want to keep the head loose. And then from here you might be able to adjust and see if your body will invite you just a little bit deeper. I'm going to rest here in my deepest fold for 30 seconds to 1 minute. You'll notice here the breath is restricted, but don't let that stop you from taking those deep belly breaths. After my 10th breath, 60 seconds, I'm going to slowly, the slowest we've released a pose all day, one vertebrae at a time, begin to roll up the length of your spine, with your head and neck being the last to come back up. Take a deep breath here. Try not to move too fast. I like to take some head and neck circles here. Just taking my head all the way around. Take it the opposite direction. And let your body reset here. Take a few moments, and we'll work our way into our wrap-up. All right, Rubber fam, that's good work. Feels like somebody just sprayed my hips with WD-40. I can twist, my muscles feel activated. This is a great exercise movement regimen to take before or after you play around. As always, we love to challenge ourselves here, seeing exactly what we're capable of and allowing ourselves to be a little messy in the process, making some mistakes and learning as we go. That's what yoga is about, and I like to try to draw some parallels into our golf game with those principles as well. We're learning here through these movements what it feels like to get out of your head and into your body, into your breath. So if there's anything you take away from these videos and these exercises, it's that. Keep feeling your relationship with your body, and the physical present moment you're in is strengthening. And that way when you get up to the tee box, you don't have the council, the committee chirping at you. Just a deep breath, feeling in your body, present and aware. Now, with that being said, I've got some overthinking to do. As always, such a pleasure to move around with you, everybody. I'm Jack with Rubber Man Golf, and I'll see you next time.